Hello everybody, Father Rich here with the records I played today. Actually, it was yesterday, but whatever. Earlier today I was listening to this one. But anyways, I'm gonna Bip Bop Boom. I mentioned him in my last video, the record store day video. And I'm gonna highlight him again. He made, I think, one of the best videos I've seen in the VC in a long time regarding this record. Got Live If You Want It by the Rolling Stones. He said that this is the first punk album ever. And I had never thought of it that way. But I pulled it out. I re-listened. I've listened to it quite a few times. I listened to it last night with the headphones, and it's a bit of a mess that way, but it's not that bad. Now, the way that I listened to it without the headphones is I sat directly in front of the left speaker, because that's where the band is. The right, it has, the band in it, but it's way down. It has the vocals and this loud crowd noise. So if you go sit directly in front of the band, it kind of tones the crowd noise down a bit, and it's a good listen. And the Rolling Stones, especially on this recording, it's so different than anything else at the time. It's definitely not the Beatles. It's definitely not the Kinks or any of those other bands. It has an attitude that none of those have. Now, my brother had this back in the 60s. And I remember looking at this picture, and especially this guy here, I remember saying, man, they're a scruffy lot, They're not like the Beatles, That was my initial reaction. You look at them now, and it looks quite normal, but anyways, it starts out with Under My Thumb after an intro. And it starts out with this snotty, punky, I mean, I can't even do it. But mixed vocals and attitude are totally punk off the charts. And I think Bip Bop Boom nailed it, man. This is the first punk record ever. And then it goes straight into Get Off of My Cloud. And the delivery of that, the attitude, and the message is as punk as it can get. Next, the Lady Jane comes on, and it lowers the tempo. But I think it's still a good version. Then you got Not Fade Away, Right Back at You, man. And it starts off with this fuzzy guitar. It's really great. Now, the last two songs on side one, I've Been Loving You Too Long, which I kind of think might be the weakest song on the album. It's kind of a bluesy. Well, anyways, I've Been Loving You Too Long and Fortune Teller, those are actually studio versions, and they put the crowd noise on top of it because they didn't have enough live tape to make a complete album, so that's what they did there. Now they were originally going to make this live at that Royal Albert Hall, and I think that's what it says on here, but it's actually not. Yeah, it says recorded live at the Royal Albert Hall, but it actually isn't. It might be two songs from that show, because that show broke into a riot. And I have a video. It's like a bootleg video of the Rolling Stones tour back in England. And it was wild, dude. It was like completely mayhem. So what they did is they took tracks from different live venues and they put it all together and made this great album. Now, Fortune Teller, the end of side one, is one of my favorites. I don't know if it's on a proper Rolling Stones album. If it is, let me know which one, man. I want to get that. I think it was a B-side to on one of their singles. But anyways, what Bip Bop Boom was saying is the mono version is the way to go. Now, I have the stereo version. Now, I'm thinking, man, you know what? If I got the mono version, I wouldn't have to sit off to the side, you know? But what I don't know, and maybe some of you can let me know, I don't have a mono cartridge. I have a stereo cartridge. Would it play okay with the stereo cartridge? Because I'm not going to be changing cartridges and all that shit. But anyways, side 2, The Last Time, 19 Nervous Breakdown. I mean, this is as punk as it gets. Time Is on My Side. Okay, they lower the tempo again, but it's really good. I'm Alright. It's kind of, that song gets a little repetitious and that's probably the weakest song. Have You Seen Your Mother, Baby, Standing in the Shadow? What a fucking... And then I Can't Get No Satisfaction. But I think Bip Bop Boom's take is spot on. This is the first punk album in attitude, snotty vocals. The band's just ripping. It's just fantastic. I followed that up with this Record Store Day. Small Faces, the complete greatest hits. Now, my last video was a Record Store Day video. You need to go check that out. It's the best one out there on Record Store Day. I only listened to side 1 of this. That's the earlier stuff. And it's really great, man. It's that 60s kind of bluesy. It has a name, but it's escaping me now. The side 2 is more of the kind of the psyche stuff. And this is mono. And I don't know, to me, it doesn't sound that good. Maybe in stereo it would be better. Or maybe it's too much. It doesn't have the song lengths. But I think they crammed a lot of music on both sides. I mean, there's 8 songs on side 1, 7 on side 2. But side 1 sounds fine. And I kind of like that freak beat. Yeah. Good album, man. And I followed that up with one. Somebody showed this on the 10 albums I listened to the most. And I was surprised. Wow, that's interesting. And why I kind of thought it was interesting is this is the Jethro Tull album that I actually pull out and listen to the most out of all my Jethro Tulls. In fact, in my last purge, I purged Thick as a Brick. Because, I don't know, it's a good record, but after listening to it, I only listened to side 1 of it. I'm not going to listen to this. I don't feel like listening to this anymore, you know? So, yeah, I purged that one. And I'll talk about that in my next. That was last week I purged it. Anyways, this one is very bluesy. It's different than the others. I need to get a copy of Stand Up. I don't have that. That was the first Jethro Tull that I ever bought, was Stand Up. And then I bought Benefit. And then I bought this one. I went back and got this one. And then you had Aqualung. Those are my 4 favorites. And that's probably all I need. I liked Thick as a Brick, but I just... When Passion Play came out, my brother had it. I did not like it. And to this day, I've never heard another Jethro Tull album. Oh, I do have that Living in the Past, the double LP comp. But anyways, this is cool. It's definitely rawer than their progressive stuff. Then I went to some real raw stuff. La Onda de the Survival. It's a psych band from Mexico. Now this has a bluesy undercurrent to it, heavily. In fact, the first song, Old People, starts out like a slow to mid-tempo bluesy song. But then it gets heavy, and it gets faster and heavier with what I call is acid psychedelic. It's really good. And the other songs they're all kind of psychedelic, kind of garagey, but with a blues tint to them. And I only listened to side 1 of this. Now, if I remember right, side 2, I only listened to side 1 of this. Side 2 of this might have my favorite song, but whatever. Then after listening to that, I listened to Poppies. Now, this is a 60's Vanguard recordings compilation that also is a record store day. Out of my listens, 2 of them were record store days. This is fantastic, man. It's a really good 60s psychedelic comp. It starts out with a Buffy St. Marie with the song Poppies. It's a very trippy song. It's quite long, actually. Then it goes into Southwest FOB, which kind of, it's more of a pop psych song, but it does go into like a fuzzy guitar in the break, you know. Now the next one is Jefferson Lee, someone I've never heard of. That was way heavier. And that's what I call acid psych. Yeah, that one was very heavy. Very good. The next one, The Gospel, it's like a psychedelic chant. It had this chant feeling to it, but very psychedelic. And then you got The Frost, which starts out like a typical 60s psych song. And then it goes into this heavy, extensive heavy guitars. And it's a pretty long song. And then you got The Sot Weed Factor, a good psych song. And it was a great way to end a great psych compilation. Now, I didn't listen to Side 2. Side 2 had some bands that I'm very familiar with. The Serpent Power, Circus Maximus. You know, people that are into the 60s psych, they know those bands. But anyways, Vanguard was, I think, mostly a folk label. And I guess in the later 60s, they wanted to dip their foot into the psych realms. And then the final record I listened to was Dr. Birds and Mr. Hyde. Came out in 1969. And I pulled this one because Richard McCook recently did his top 20 albums from 1969. And he had this one at number 20. And as soon as he showed this at 20, I'm thinking, I wonder where he's going to put The Ballad of Easy Rider. Because that was also released in 1969. And it was not included. So I was kind of surprised because The Ballad of Easy Rider is one of my favorite Birds albums. So I pulled this one out, and this is fantastic, dude. It's got some far out, wild, psyche songs. It's got some more songs that are kind of sound like a Birds. It's got some country stuff, kind of like from the past album, The Sweetheart of the Rodeo. And I think this is a much better than Sweetheart of the Rodeo. In fact, this would probably make my top 5 of favorite Birds albums. Old Blue on it, the good, really great song about his dog, you know. It's a fantastic album, dude. King Apathy 3, that's a great one. Just a great, good Birds album. One that's overlooked. Most people, they like those first 4 and that's it. I say, check out the Notorious Bird Brothers. Check out Ballad of Easy Rider. Check out this one and check out the Untitled. The studio album of Untitled is fantastic. But anyways, take care, everybody. That's what I've been listening to. Well, last night. Today I listened to that and the Slash early years. Dodgers play tomorrow. First game of the playoffs. Take care, everybody.